This is a presentation, discussion, possible action on an overview of the Harvey Road Corridor Redevelopment Plan, including processes and work to date. Ms. Wade, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Heather Wade, Planning and Development Services. Tonight, I'll be providing an overview of the Harvey Road Corridor Redevelopment Plan process, including the purpose of the plan, why this area was selected, the overall project timeline, and the community engagement strategy that will guide the effort over the next year. Before getting into the specifics of the plan, I wanted to briefly frame where a small area plan fits within the city's broader planning framework. At the highest level, the comprehensive plan establishes the citywide vision and policy direction, and from there, more focused planning efforts such as master plans and small area plans help translate those broader goals into strategies tailored to specific places.
I have a loose wire or something.
Small area plans allow us to make a much more detailed look at a defined geographic area, including existing conditions, development patterns, infrastructure needs, market conditions, mobility, and redevelopment opportunities. They also help bridge the gap between long-range planning and implementation by informing future capital improvements, policy decisions, development standards, and department work programs. Ultimately, the goal of this process is to create a practical roadmap that helps guide future reinvestment and coordinated decision-making within the corridor planning area over time. The Harvey Road corridor and surrounding area was selected because it represents one of the city's most important commercial and gateway corridors and has been designated as a redevelopment area in the city's comprehensive plan since at least 2009. The planning area is approximately 466 acres and generally extends along Harvey Road from Texas Avenue to State Highway 6 and includes adjacent properties bounded by Dominic Drive, University Oaks, the Wolf Pen Creek Trail, Holloman Drive, and the northern edge of Wolf Pen Creek Park. The boundary is depicted on the map here on this slide. You can see that we have divided the planning area up into 4 sub-areas. These areas are informal designations by planning staff to more easily describe and visualize the area. The 2 hubs, Post Oak and Texas, represent the 2 major commercial nodes of the planning area. Oakside and Trailside both contain a mix of residential and commercial uses. For decades, Harvey Road has functioned as a major commercial corridor and regional activity center within College Station. The area includes significant retail activity, multifamily housing, hospitality uses, and community destinations. It also serves several important roles simultaneously as a major east-west transportation corridor, a gateway into the community and to Texas A&M University, and a connector between commercial, residential, and recreational destinations like Wolf Pen Creek Park. Today, the area contains a mix of thriving businesses, aging commercial centers, older multifamily development, fragmented site design, and a lack of cohesive identity. This planning effort gives the city an opportunity to proactively evaluate the planning area's conditions, understand current market dynamics, identify redevelopment opportunities, and establish a shared long-term vision for how the corridor should evolve over time. Ultimately, the goal is to create a framework that supports reinvestment, connectivity, economic vitality, and a stronger sense of place. This slide provides a brief high-level snapshot of the corridor today. In terms of activity, Harvey Road currently carries approximately 20,000 to 25,000 vehicles per day, depending on the segment you're looking at, while Texas Avenue near the corridor sees traffic volumes approaching 50,000 vehicles per day. The corridor also serves a very broad user base, including residents, students, visitors, employees, and regional shoppers. Commercially, the area saw more than 15 million visits in 2025 alone. Within the planning area, approximately 5,500 people currently live in or adjacent to the corridor. with a median age of approximately 26 years old and a very high renter population reflective of the area's multifamily and student-oriented housing patterns. The area also contains a significant amount of older development, with much of the area being built between the 1970s and the 1990s. Taken together, these conditions illustrate both the importance of the corridor and the surrounding area today and the opportunity for coordinated long-term reinvestment and planning moving forward. The planning process is structured into 4 primary phases over the next year. Phase 1 focuses on launching the project and building a strong understanding of existing conditions. We're currently in this phase now. Work to date that we have accomplished includes performing initial research into existing conditions, gearing up for engagement by putting our digital infrastructure in place and establishing a brand for the plan, and bringing on a consultant to assist us with detailed market analyses and scenario modeling. During this phase, our initial engagement activities will also begin. Phase 2 centers on community visioning. This includes broader public outreach, stakeholder engagement, workshops, and identifying community priorities, opportunities, and concerns related to the corridor's future. Phase 3 moves into actual plan development. During this phase, redevelopment concepts, urban design strategies, connectivity and mobility recommendations, and implementation approaches will be developed and refined with public feedback. Finally, Phase 4 will focus on adoption and implementation, including public hearings, final plan refinement, and development of an implementation roadmap to guide future action. One thing I wanted to emphasize is that this process is intentionally iterative. Community engagement and feedback will occur throughout each phase rather than being limited to just a single point in time. With that, community engagement really is a foundational component of this process and is led by city staff. The engagement strategy is designed to provide multiple ways for residents, businesses, property owners, students, and other stakeholders to participate throughout the process. This includes broad community outreach tools such as a project website, email updates, social media, media outreach, and online surveys. It also includes more interactive engagement opportunities such as open houses, workshops, and pop-up events throughout the planning area. In addition, we anticipate targeted stakeholder collaboration with property owners, businesses, neighborhood representatives, institutional partners, multifamily residents, hospitality stakeholders, and student organizations to ensure that specific perspectives are incorporated into the planning process. The process is also designed as a continuous feedback loop, meaning that we will regularly communicate back to the community through what we heard summaries, online updates, and draft review opportunities so that participants can see how their input is informing the plan. Overall, the engagement strategy is intended to move from listening to envisioning to testing ideas, refining recommendations, and then ultimately adoption. In terms of immediate next steps, staff will be launching the project website, forming a plan working group, and continuing existing conditions analysis work over the next coming weeks. The formal public engagement process is expected to begin this summer, including a kickoff open house currently planned for June 23rd at City Hall from 6 to 8 p.m. Additional engagement opportunities will include a public survey, stakeholder outreach, and future visioning workshops. Following that work, draft recommendations are anticipated later this year, followed by broader public review process and eventual plan adoption in 2027. I also wanted to note that this plan is intended to establish a long-term framework for the planning area's future evolution. It will not result in immediate change overnight, but rather provide guidance for coordinated public and private investment decisions over time. Tonight, we are seeking feedback from the council on the proposed process and engagement approach before the project moves further into implementation. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or hear any feedback from the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council members, do you have questions for staff, comments? Start with questions, but go right ahead.
Wait, thank you so much. I think it's going to be a fabulous study. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in this simply because we're talking about the mall area. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different opinions on what we need to do with that area, since the city has kind of a stake in that as well. You mentioned that you're going to provide continuous feedback to the committee. How are you going to do that? Is that through the website? Because I'm interested to follow this fairly closely. How's the feedback going to be given to the community?
Yeah, so as we get results of various pieces of the planning project, like our existing conditions report, that will go on the website. We also have an email sign up where anyone who's interested in getting updates can sign up to be part of that email group, and then as things become available, they will be notified. It'll also be a way to advertise for future events and things that we're adding to the website.
That's great. And how many people will be on your working group? Is that have you defined that yet?
We are not limiting the size of the working group at this time, so it is, if people are interested and they sign up, that they will be invited to participate.
Thank you so much. I'm going to look forward to it.
Thank you. Ms. McElhaney?
I'm not one to correct my colleagues from the dais, but that is no longer Mrs. Wade. That is Dr. Wade.
I'm sorry.
Congratulations, Heather.
My sincere
Thank you.
apologies. My sincere apologies.
Thank you.
No, I noticed it on your slide. Congratulations. I'm really impressed with the credentials all you guys carry, and then you pop up a freshly minted PhD. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited about this one. You can actually see my house on the map. So it's close to home. I drive that corridor every day, and it's in severe need of some love and attention, and I'm glad that we're going to put a spotlight on it. I really think that this is an opportunity for us to develop something that is our own version of Century Square. Maybe do some high density, housing, keep it low, keep it to scale, but really do something that is a draw for people and not something that scares people. A lot of it has to do with the age of the properties. They've just been neglected for a very long time, and the area is due for a change. Can you go back to the map real quick?
Yes.
So I was kind of shocked, and it makes sense, but y'all actually are looking at that area across Texas Avenue as part of that
Yes.
corridor too. Is that like where, is that like so it's actually from, what street is that? Is that not Dominic doesn't go all the way through. What's the northbound street?
Off of George Bush.
You've got the golf course. Is that Moss, I guess?
Moss is the next one over.
that
And I
Moss?
think that's just the frontage on George Bush East.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is the Keep Brazos Beautiful property
Okay.
that is owned by the city.
Okay, so that would be like the old JJ's Liquor on the south, all the way, I forget what it is now, I'm sorry. But is that like Panda Express?
Yes,
Is that- okay.
it's the Texas Crossing Shopping Center, so Jason's Deli, Panda Express.
Tell me what I eat there, that's how you orient me. Okay, so that makes sense that it would encompass that. And then is that University Oaks Park on the north side there?
Oaks Park?
Or Oaks Park?
Yes,
Okay,
that is included.
okay. Excellent, yeah, to Councilmember White's point, that does include Post Oak. Hopefully it'll make our Macy's investment even more lucrative, but I really am excited to see this come to fruition. Would it be possible to just maybe put us on that information update email?
Yes, absolutely.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Mr. Yancey, any questions, comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Dr. Wade, thank you. Congratulations also, and thank you for the presentation. Will council members have an opportunity to be on in this feedback loop? Or
Absolutely, yes. We plan to come back to both Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council throughout the process. We have, I guess, 2 other specific times we have in mind, but we're open to keeping you in the loop as much as you request.
Great deal. The boundaries of the area, those were drawn by staff, I presume?
Yes.
I was kind of hoping when we were talking about this project that the Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater district or area, or however we want to refer to it, would be incorporated in this. I mean, what if, for example, one of the feedbacks that I would give you is, the empty Sears service building, that'd be a great ice house or entertainment area servicing Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater. And as a part of a plan like this, maybe we could incentivize something like that to happen. And the way people get to the amphitheater, I think the majority of folks, unless they live in and around the area, would come down Harvey Road. So I guess my question is, Mayor wanted questions. My question is, if you got that feedback from some folks as a part of this process, might you expand the area, or is it always going to be range bound as we see here today?
So we are open to council direction. I will say that the actual boundaries of the planning area was heavily discussed amongst staff and several different departments, including both parks and economic development. And I think you probably can see on the map there, the Sears building is included. But when it came to considering whether or not to include Wolfpen Creek Park or parts of that park, the decision was really made to keep it separate because it will be likely undergoing it'll be part of the Parks Master Plan.
And the RFP response that we'll be hearing about soon, I would imagine.
So we, didn't want to overlap with that, and but we also recognize that there is
Synergy, maybe?
synergy in all of our work. There is a focus on how do you connect Wolfpen Creek Park to this area and ultimately to the university. So
It would be like, this is a distinct district. Wolfpen Creek's kind of a distinct district. It's
Correct.
adjacent, so we need to connect them, but not plan them together necessarily. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's kind of how we were thinking of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I probably would have included it in there, but it's a great plan, great presentation, and I appreciate it very much.
Mr. Schaefer?
Thanks for the presentation, Heather. I don't have any questions. I'll be very interested to see how the process goes and look forward to participating in it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me just add a couple quick comments. I think I understand the logic of Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater, festival grounds, and so forth being planned according to what we've already got underway. Obviously, I think the synergies there, I agree with the comments on my left, that you sort of have to think about it as well, and however that develops, which is subject to a separate analysis that I hope comes up pretty quickly. So I'm happy that you have separated it out. But I do have one just major question, probably pretty easily answered. The main corridor here is Highway 30 Harvey Road. Tell me about the interaction with TxDOT, which owns that road and has already done some improvements on it, but for the lack of a better term, our adaptive transportation master plan goals don't really appear very much along that. How do you see TxDOT fitting into this discussion of the whole corridor?
Yeah, so very good point. I definitely think that having A TxDOT representative will be a critical piece to, say, like, for example, the working group. Our department does work closely with TxDOT and has a connection through our transportation and mobility division, which, if Jason is here and he has more he wants to add, he is more than welcome to. But yes, we recognize they're a critical partner for this plan.
Yeah, I would think that needs to be pretty clearly stated up front, because particularly the pedestrian services along that road are not adequate. And I know they have, as a matter of fact, as I recall, they have a plan to do some things along that road. Probably the other committee that Dr. Schaefer is chair of is already working with Jason. I don't want to over dramatize it, but I'd certainly expect to see a pretty strong engagement there, and they will be doing something at that underpass or connectivity there at Earl Rudder. So there's going to be, hopefully, at least you'd have a right turn lane there. But anyway, I'm expecting to see TxDOT involved in this, so thank you very much. Any other comments? I think what I'm hearing is a pretty positive feedback. The word corridor that you've now adopted as opposed to Harvey Road. Tell me a little bit, just a little bit about that. I buy into it. I understand.
Yeah.
You're trying to show that it's properties, it's not just the road. Is that the idea?
That is the idea. We were trying to create a name that represented the area, but it has also been a point of discussion amongst staff, so you wouldn't be the first to have that question. Ultimately, that was what we ended up going with, and yeah.
Well, you got hubs at both ends. That's creative, and then you got Oakside and Trailside. That's interesting, well named, and it looks a little bit like a key. So, if you
It does
figure out
kind of
how
look
to
like that.
elaborate that key to the city here, I can remember back in the '90s when University Drive overlay was placed on that, and look what's happened on University Drive. This is a potential, particularly with TxDOT working now on the rest of Harvey Road out to Highway 30. We've got some real opportunities here to regenerate and reactivate this whole area. So I think elaborating some smart planning here and coming back to council with recommendations and ideas about how we can maybe do some city-initiated efforts along there, entitling some land in a way that allows future investors to make it easier for them to reach in and do something is really a positive goal for the whole effort. So on behalf of the council, I think I can just say thank you, Dr. Wade. We appreciate your efforts and all of those of staff that you worked with to get us this far, but this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.